What's going on, everybody? So before we get into what we're going to talk about today, I just wanted to say this channel is presented by After Dark Sports and Browns After Dark. Please be sure to check out Browns After Dark every Sunday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Follow us at Browns After Dark on Twitter. What's up, guys? I have an exciting announcement for you today. I can now officially say that I am proud to be partnered with the Offside Sports Network. You might be asking yourself, well, what does that mean? Well, nothing on this channel is really going to change as far as what you see and hear, but this is going to open the door to more opportunities for things such as more shows, podcasts, merch down the road, sponsorships, and it's going to allow you to be a part of a fantastic community. I am very happy to be involved and partnered with the Offside Sports Network. Be sure to go check out the Discord if you would like. People in there non-stop just about every day. It's a fantastic community you're going to want to be a part of. So be sure to check out the Discord and follow Offside Sports Network on Twitter. Alright, what's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to give you my top 5 breakout candidates for the Cleveland Browns for the 2022-2023 season, and I also have an honorable mention for you. So these are basically guys that I think could really take that next step and have a really big impact on the Cleveland Browns. Starting off with my honorable mention, Greedy Williams. Now, this is kind of an easy one, I guess you could say, but Greedy is coming into the point where he's going to have to either prove it or I don't know what's going to happen with him, because the Browns are not in a position to where they're probably going to extend him unless it's a very, very cheap deal. The Browns probably won't bring Greedy Williams back. So you got to look at this season as essentially an audition tape for another team if you're Greedy Williams. And he missed the entirety of 2020 with that nerve injury, and 2021 was not bad. Listen, a lot of people his rookie year thought that Greedy was not great. A lot of people tend to do this with injuries. If players miss some time, everybody write them off. They think they suck. But Greedy was not bad at all. I thought Greedy had a pretty decent impact for the Browns last season, and you got to look at it from this standpoint. The 2023 season, you're going to have a even better Greg Newsome. Denzel Ward, of course. You got AJ Green, who's proved to be very, very good, who also is worthy of being on this list. So for Greedy, you're in a position to where it's just up to you. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be spectacular. Just go out there and get your job done. Just play your role and play it to the best of your abilities. And you're looking at a pretty decent contract somewhere else, most likely. So I think Greedy Williams is going to have a great year this year. Again, the pressure's off of him. Not a whole lot that he really has to do. So I'm expecting a massive year out of Greedy Williams. So he is my honorable mention. So my number 5 player on the breakout list of 2022-2023 is Jedrick Wills Jr., who was the 10th pick overall for the Cleveland Browns in the 2020 NFL Draft. Jed is 23 years old, 6'4", 307 pounds. His problem is really a couple different things. So, obviously, Jedrick Wills in college played right tackle. And whenever you play right tackle and you switch in the NFL to play left tackle, the level of competition improves, but also you have to kind of relearn everything, right? Everybody just kind of assumes that you switch sides and it's going to be natural. Well, that's going to take time. You have so much muscle memory and just practice overall that when you make such a drastic change, it's going to take a while. And I think Jedrick Wills Jr. has actually done a pretty good job switching from right to left. Now, the problem is in 2021, he had an ankle that he probably should not have been playing on at all. He continuously came in and came out with injury. He probably just should have had surgery and sat out, but the Browns desperately needed him in 2021, and he played through, which credit to him, but you got to look at it again. Similar to Greedy, Jedrick Wills is coming up on the point of determining the fifth-year option or not, and for a Browns team that has a offensive line that's really signed up long-term, they need Jedrick Wills to kind of solidify himself and play that left tackle spot, and there's high standards, obviously, with the history of Joe Thomas and couple of the other great offensive linemen the Browns have had and currently even have now. Jedrick Wills is in a tough spot, and I believe in 2022/2023, now he's hopefully going to be back healthy, and the time that he's had to learn, switching the position from 2020 to where he's got more of that down, Obviously with 2021 being injured, you can't really fault him too much for that. I believe this 2022-2023 season is his time to break out. If he does not break out this year, then I don't know how long Jedrick Wills is going to be on the Browns anymore. I'll be completely honest with you. I think now is the time to put up or shut up. Either he's going to get the job done now or he's not going to get it done at all. So I'm expecting a big year out of Jedrick Wills. I think he can really step up and play a big-time role for the Browns. You're talking about a guy who's got really good technique. His hand placement is great. His footwork is great. For Jed, it's really just about motivation. And I think with his back being against the wall with that fifth-year option on the table now, I think it's going to force him to step up and play to the level that everybody was hoping when we picked him 10th overall. So fourth on my list for breakout of 2022-2023 season is Harrison Bryant, tight end out of FAU. So we picked Harrison Bryant with the 115th pick in 2020. Bryant is 24 years old. He's 6'5", 230 pounds. Last year, he had 21 receptions, 233 yards, 3 touchdowns, and averaged at 11.1 per catch. This is, of course, the 2020 John Mackey Award winner, which is incredible coming out of FAU to win that award. You got to think about all the major colleges and all the big-name tight ends, and Harrison Bryant was the one who got that award. So really made his name known. I think so far in the NFL, his career has been pretty solid, to say the least. It's not been great, but you got to remember, breakouts for tight ends is really a couple years into your career. And Austin Hooper is now gone from the Browns. They've extended David Njoku. So we know how much the Browns love to use their tight ends, and it's really going to be down to those two guys for this year to step up. Harrison Bryant has shown flashes. I think everybody has seen some really, really good things from Harrison Bryant in his time here in Cleveland. I think now with a new quarterback, updated system, maybe some little changes here and there, I think Harrison Bryant with this bigger role is primed and ready to step up. Again, when you talk about tight ends and their transition into the NFL, it takes some time. Think about how long it took for David Njoku to become what he's become. So I think Harrison Bryant, being that number 2 this year, I think he's in a really good spot, and I'm expecting him to really take that next step for the Browns. So my number 3 breakout candidate is somebody who you haven't really seen a whole lot of. So it's kind of interesting. I wasn't sure if I would throw him on this list or maybe throw a guy like an AJ Green on this list, but I went ahead and threw him on here anyway. So my number 3 breakout candidate is Nick Harris. Nick Harris is 23 years old. He's 6'1", 293 pounds, which, at 6'1", that's a little short for center, but you're talking about a guy in college who is absolutely phenomenal at Washington. He started 40 of 50 games. He's perfect to what the Browns are looking for. He came in that Green Bay game for J.C. Tretter and not only held his own, but actually performed like a very good starter, against that Green Bay defense. So I think Nick Harris, he's a much better fit than J.C. Tretter, as great as Tretter was for the Browns. Harris is just a simply better fit when it comes to the athleticism and the ability to get to that next level, get your hand on a linebacker. Under the new version of this offense, whenever Deshaun does play, you're going to see a lot more RPO, a lot more, movement and pulling, I believe, from that offensive line. So I think Nick Harris is set to have a really, really good performance in his first year starting. Now, he's also in competition with Ethan Pochich, but I think he's going to win that job, to be honest with you, no problem. I'm expecting nothing but great things from Nick Harris. I think he's going to be a really, really good starter and another young addition at 23 years old to this Browns offensive line. So just think about that. If Nick Harris can work out, you're talking about young Jedrick Wills, who, we'll see what's here. We'll see what happens with Jedrick Wills, but, Joe Bitonio's here long-term. Nick Harris would be here long-term. Teller's here long-term. You'll see what happens with Conklin. If Nick Harris can work out, that's just another really, really good piece that the Browns won't have to worry about on that offensive line. So that would be perfect. So my number 2 breakout candidate for the Cleveland Browns for this season is none other than Jacob Phillips. Jacob Phillips, 23 years old, 6'3", 228 pounds. drafted 97 in the 2020 NFL Draft. He had 6 solo tackles and 1 sack before his injury. He started 3 of 9 games in his rookie season with 24 tackles and 1 pass defended. His career tackles at LSU was 218 tackles, rather. He led the national championship team in tackles. He had the torn bicep surgery. So you're talking about a guy who is really, really underrated. I mean, to lead that national championship LSU team in tackles, that was absolutely stacked. I mean, he was right next to a guy like Patrick Queen, who was taken way, way higher than him, but really outperformed him in the numbers. So Jacob Phillips is really, in my opinion, one of the most sure tacklers on the Cleveland Browns. And coming off that injury, the main problem is really just health. Phillips, throughout his entire career, has been really, really good. It's just, can he stay healthy? I believe that if Jacob Phillips can stay healthy, playing on this defense with Jadeveon Clowney back, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah being what he is, at 23 years old, I think Jacob Phillips can be really, really good for the Cleveland Browns, and I think he's going to eventually be a starter. I think, at some point, the Browns love to run those 2 linebacker sets. I think it's no longer going to be Anthony Walker and and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think it's going to be Jacob Phillips and JOK. And I think that's how it's going to be for years to come. I think Jacob Phillips is this good. If he can stay healthy, combined with all the other pieces the Browns have put together on that defense, I think Phillips can be very, very good. You're talking about a sideline-to-sideline guy, a guy who's got great speed. He can make the tackle. This is the guy you want when you're matched up against the Baltimore Ravens, teams like that who can run the football. And he's not terrible in pass coverage as well. So my number 1 breakout candidate for the Cleveland Browns this season is none other than Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit, 23 years old, 6'3", 208 pounds, 44 pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. It's funny how that worked out. So Delpit had 39 solo, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception last year for the Browns. 2019 Thorpe Award winner. 37 college starts, 199 tackles, 17.5 for them for loss, 7 sacks, and 8 interceptions in college. I think Grant Delpit is set to have an unbelievable season for the Cleveland Browns. And it's kind of what I talked about, with Jacob Phillips, right? When you have a guy like, JOK there next to you and you can take that pressure off, and bringing Clowney back. Basically, when everybody does their job and you can just play your role, you can be great at the role you're best at. That's basically what is going to happen with a lot of these guys. It's like, going back to Nick Harris. When you have Wyatt Teller and Joe Bitonio next to you, you can do great things. You just got to do your job. Those guys will handle their business. You handle yours. Kind of the same thing with Grant Delpit here. So the Browns brought back Ronnie Harrison, who, I don't love, but when you're talking about a guy who can play in the box, be a big physical safety, not terrible. John Johnson is going to be in his role that he always should have been in, I hope. Joe Woods was trying to play him back, and John Johnson's not a guy you want playing free safety. You want John Johnson up in the box, basically being an extra linebacker for the most part. And you saw that more out of the Browns later in the year last year. And Delpit, I believe, with, if Joe Woods can realize that that's the role that John Johnson needs to be in, and with Ronnie Harrison coming back, I think it's going to free up Delpit. I think really the 2 guys that are going to help each other the most are Grant Delpit and JOK. I think those 2 are going to be able to fly around. For Delpit, he's a guy that can come in, blitz off the edge. He does a great job doing that. You saw that at some points last year. Big hit guy, but also I think the thing you've not really seen a lot from Grant Delpit so far on the Browns is his ability to be a ball hawk. He's not just a guy that you want playing in the box. I hear people talk about that a lot. Delpit's somebody you want, in my opinion, playing in that middle range to where you can bring him up, you can drop him back. I think he's going to be great this year, especially when you have the help at corner that you do now. Plus, you bring in somebody like a Martin Emerson, who's a bigger guy, can maybe step in, play that strong safety role, and free up Delpit even more. So We'll see. I think that Grant Delpit, in my opinion, after this season, is going to be one of, if not, well, obviously he's not going to be the best player on the defense, but when you talk about guys who make this defense and this team great, Grant Delpit, in my opinion, will be at the top of the list when it comes to that. So, again, my top 5 breakout candidates, honorable mention, Greedy Williams. We'll see what happens with him. Number 5, Jedrick Wills, coming off an injury. Harrison Bryant, he's going to step up into that tight end 2 role. Nick Harris, who's going to be a starter. Jacob Phillips coming back from injury. And then Grant Delpit, who I believe is going to be a massive part of this defense going forward. So give me your top 5 candidates for the Browns for breakouts for this year. What do you think about this list? Anything you would change? Who would you add? Again, I wouldn't be upset if I threw in A.J. Green over any of these guys. So, there's plenty of good candidates for the Browns, but these are my top 5. Let me know what you think, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.